What is up, Watch fam? Happy Friday, and welcome to this week's episode of Liquor Run. I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and this is my old man,
Rolly.
And today we're going to be talking about a trip we recently took to northeastern Spain, right?
Yes.
And a beautiful vineyard that we were lucky enough to visit. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, before we jump in, a quick wristwatch check. Love what you're wearing, Daddy-O.
Ah, she's back.
Panerai.
Radio Mirror.
Absolutely love that watch.
Yep, haven't worn it in a while.
We were just showing it off to an uncle. He loved it, right?
Yes.
It's. I was trying to explain, which is a really cool part about Panerai. One of the few oversized watches that really has reason, that isn't about, fashion or wearing a big watch. It's the function of the watch, right, is to be, one, waterproof, and two, large and legible. So it's pretty cool. I am wearing something a little different, not a sports watch by any means, a Rolex Date reference 1803. Although it's kind of funny, I actually do wear it as a sports watch because of its, weight and everything with the t-shirt.
Oh, you could go whacking with it.
Yeah. We could go whacking like Tony Soprano. So all right, let's get into it. Take over the field here. What do we have?
All right. So remember that day we got into Barcelona.
Yep.
We were an hour south of Barcelona,
Yep.
and this one day we went into Sant Sadurní d'Anoia,
Yep.
Cava country.
Yep.
And
Bright and early. What was it like?
bright and early. It was an 11 a.m.
Maybe even earlier. I don't know. Like
11 a.m. Tasting and tour.
Yeah.
And we got to meet this wonderful family, the Sabate Coca family that makes Castellroig.
Yeah.
Castellroig, meaning Red Castle in Catalan.
Okay.
And
It's a pretty small production, right? What do they make? 250,000 bottles a year?
I think 250,000 is probably all they
There
make.
you go.
Yeah.
200,
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
in put it in perspective, right? What's a big producer and how much do they do? Like I
Oh,
don't know.
Freshenet is making millions of bottles.
So
Probably the most well-known cava
Right.
in America.
size-wise, these little Cava brands are kind of pimples on on the back of Freshenet or other brands, but this is
Boutique-y,
where
yeah.
real amazing stuff happens, like we experienced. So
Yes.
let's crack it open and start
Let's do
talking
it.
about our experience.
Oh, my hand is wet.
Oh, this one, yeah, me and mine too.
Put your shirt on.
Salud.
Salud. Oh, this is delicious.
Oh, it's so good.
Ooh. So,
Okay, yeah, let's get back into it.
Right.
So they brought us on a quick little tour of the house.
Yes.
Right? Sabate Coca is what, third generation?
Third generation.
Third generation, right? The sons, well, I guess the grandsons are now running the business.
Yes.
Right, which is pretty cool. And we actually met one of them.
Yes, we did.
Right? Who managed, I think, the production itself.
Right.
Right. So tell me a little bit about what it is that we're drinking here. What is the actual wine? And then I want to talk about the process of making it.
Well, first of all, it's important to note that cava is made in the Champenois method, which means that the same standards or the same method that's used for champagne
Right.
is utilized for cava.
So the only difference is the grape.
Yeah, so that means, for those that don't know, Champenois method means that there's two fermentation processes involved in making the final product. The second fermentation takes place in the bottle.
Okay.
Which is very different from Prosecco, where the fermentation takes place in the steel in the stainless steel tank.
Okay.
Okay. So that leads to really that champagne feel, right? So the grapes, big difference.
Yep.
What
What are the grapes we're dealing with here?
So in France, you have Chardonnay, Pinot Meunier, even Pinot Noir. In Cava, you're using Parellada, using Macabeo, and you're doing Xarel·lo,
Okay.
right? So those are the grapes that are being used that grow indigenously in the Cava area.
Okay.
So there are a couple of regions. We happen to be in Sant Sadurní.
Right.
There's also Vilafranca and a couple of others. But this is really a big deal being in Sant Sadurní.
Right.
And these guys have been doing this since, wow, well, you said three generations.
generations,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like you said, champagne is the bubbly that gets all the attention.
Yes.
Right? Champagne obviously has to be, one, in the Champenois method, two in the Champagne region of France.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
This cava, as well as prosecco and some other sparkling wines,
Yes.
obviously bear some sort of a resemblance to champagne.
Yes.
But these differences make a big difference.
Right.
Right. These are not the same wines.
They're
right?
not.
And at least in my experience, I think I've found as a consumer, restaurant eater, wine drinker, that cava gets probably even less attention than prosecco.
Without question.
You don't really hear about cava on a regular basis.
No.
Meanwhile, and call me crazy, I think that this bottle of wine is quite a bit more delicious than a lot of the mainstream champagnes.
I think I think it's more approachable.
They're much more approachable.
Yeah.
It's certainly not sweet,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have that crazy kind of bitterness that you find in a lot of champagnes.
Right.
I like this bottle of wine a whole lot.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about the Castellroig family.
Yeah.
The Sabate Coca family.
Sabate Coca, right? So they obviously they own this farmhouse.
Yep.
And they had this land. They at the time they started off. They were farmers.
Right.
So they had grapes, and they were selling grapes and grape juice to other producers.
Right.
But then as the next generations came, they decided that it would be best. We're sitting on great land and we've got wonderful grapes. Let's make the wines ourselves, and let's stand behind our product.
Right.
Now, there was a dark period in Spain, right, during the Spanish Revolution, the Civil War,
Yep.
and Francisco Franco. Really, it was a dark age in Spain.
Right.
So there was really not much commerce.
Right.
It was either consume what you're making yourself, or
Right.
or burn it,
Right.
or be given very little money for what you're selling.
Right.
So it was controlled.
And I
very
would imagine
tightly.
a lot of producers died. Right? A lot of producers ceased to exist after that dark age. Right. It reminds me
Right.
of the quartz crisis. A lot of companies, I imagine, folded. But this family did not.
They were
consolidated.
or they consolidated, or they just decided, in order to survive, we just have to go with a model and just sell bulk.
Right.
Bulk, and so quality went out the window.
So now tell me a little bit about, first of all, we had an amazing experience meeting
Yes.
the family. We met the son, we met his father,
Yeah.
second generation. What I found really interesting, right, was something they were talking about, that there are only a few producers, and Sabate Coca is one of them, in this region, in this cava, producing kind of
Yes.
business, that band together against the big conglomerates and the big companies like Freshenet.
Yes.
Right?
So there's a group of 7 wineries that have banded together, and they've said, we're going to remain independent.
Right.
We believe strongly in what we're doing.
Yep.
We're using only the highest standards.
Yep.
And they've decided to forge ahead and to put their product out into the market,
Yep.
the international market.
Yep.
And Castellroig or Sabate Coca is definitely one winery that has this high level designation,
Right.
of using the most tedious process, or being very particular with the grapes that they're using, the sustainability. Organic methods, no irrigation,
Right.
etc. So very green in its approach. Gramona is another one that
Right. We also visited.
we were in Gramona as well. Gramona maybe even a little bit more known than Sabate Coca. The good news for us is that these wines are available here in the United States.
They're imported by
Regal
Wines
Wine.
in Moorestown,
Moorestown,
which is
New Jersey.
Southwest Jersey. Right?
Yeah, I suppose like
like by Philly.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right. So it's wonderful to see that they're doing business in America. I know that you'll find this particular cava in New York City for certain at some restaurants. In Manhattan.
Right.
So I love to see more of it because people need to know about cava.
So give me some tasting notes on the bottle of wine itself. Obviously, we know that the company is amazing.
Yes.
Getting to meet the patriarch of the family
Yes.
was incredible. Him talking. I remember we talked about that they don't do machine picking.
They don't.
Their grapes because the machines pick up everything. Right.
Yes.
They can pick up bad grapes. They could pick up animals and
Right.
bugs. And
Right.
He doesn't like that.
Right.
That was pretty cool. But ultimately, it comes down to the wine. And if the
Yes.
wine's good, everything's positive. But if
Correct.
it's not so good, I don't care how nice the family is.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the glass of wine itself?
For me, I definitely taste a little bit of like green apple.
Okay.
It has like that tartness.
Okay.
that I find with a green apple, but yet
But it's
that
not,
sweetness.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a sweetness.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
I think in a crazy way, I even find like a little pineapple in this
I see
wine.
definitely pineapple.
Okay.
Definitely. To me, the green apple, because I think I've had so many wines
Yeah.
that taste like just tart green apple.
Yes.
This one is not really like biting me on green apple. That's my palate, but I definitely get that get that tartness, but mellowed out by a sweetness and like a pineapple kind of taste there, or maybe even a peach. I think maybe even peach for me is more so.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's a little yeasty component to this, almost like a bread.
Okay.
That I taste, and that's probably because of the yeast.
That's a good one. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Yeah, like brioche.
Wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah, this is a really, really nice wine. It's nice and round, but it's got beautiful minerality.
Right. What I think is funny, right? You look at the price
Very well
point too.
balanced.
What is it? $13.
$13 here in New Jersey,
which is kind of crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, we are conditioned to spending a lot of money on sparkling wine because it's champagne.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's marketing. A
Yes.
lot of, and we've been explaining this many times. A lot of the popular champagne brands are able to capitalize on the fact that they are champagne. Meanwhile, the prices don't necessarily reflect any different
Yes.
quality of production or grape or anything.
Right.
It's just, champagne is a brand in and of itself.
Right.
Whereas this doesn't have that brand. So these prices, in my mind, are, if not deflated, definitely appropriate.
Yeah, because remember that this is what they're drinking at the dinner table, right?
Right.
This is what they're drinking at lunch. It's a.
We were served it at lunch.
We were served it at lunch, right?
Yeah.
It's just a way of life. It's not something that's necessarily reserved for a special occasion. It's for today. It's for the moment. It's for now.
Yeah.
It's
Which
a way
is
of
funny.
life.
We're used to just sparkling wine being something that you drink on New Year's Eve. But the
Yeah.
reality is, if you find the right ones, right, and I think that this one would really be great for a lot of you guys because to me it's much more approachable. It has that sweetness, it has that fruitiness, but not in a. It's certainly not candy-esque by any means, but it has a softness to it
Yes.
that I think is very approachable. Whereas champagne, in my experience, tends to be just a little bit harder.
Harder, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of this. To me, the experience at the winery was amazing.
It was.
Right?
They
Meeting the
treated us like
family.
family.
Absolutely.
To have the patriarch, right?
Right.
Mariano, I think I forget his name. Mariano Coca Sabate. Mr. Sabate.
Right.
Right? The way that he spoke, and even the son.
Yeah.
Even the son that came out and took us on a scooter to his favorite restaurant.
On the way out, we were at this point, we were a little bombed up, so we were looking for lunch, and you spoke to the son, and you said, hey, do you have any recommendations? And I think he started to explain a recommendation, but then was like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to get on my scooter, I'm just going to lead you guys there.
Right.
And he drove us a good 5-10 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, it was at least 5
Yes.
minutes,
Yes.
or 8 minutes.
Yes.
And that's above and beyond, way unnecessary, totally
Right.
ridiculous kind of hospitality.
That's right.
But that's what you expect. I mean, that's what you come to expect when you're abroad at these small companies.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not bashing Freshenet. They
No.
make some great
No.
stuff, and that's good for them. But as far as a truly
Mm-hmm.
native experience, visiting Sabate Coca, tasting
Castellroig. Yeah.
was terrific.
Yeah.
Really amazing, and I recommend it to anyone that
Yeah.
is in the remote vicinity of Tarragona or Calafell.
Right.
How far was it really? 20 minutes?
It was a 30-minute drive.
30-minute drive.
Yeah.
To have a truly uniquely Spanish or Catalan experience. I
Right.
mean, to me, I want to say hard to beat. It's probably impossible to beat that.
Yeah, it was very special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Liquor Run. Please, if you do see a bottle in your local liquor store, pick it up. You may be a little skeptical of trying a sparkling wine from Spain, but I promise you, it's delicious.
Oh, and by the way, big props out to Margaret White, our tour guide.
Yes.
Here's to
amazing.
you, Margaret. You're
Here's
wonderful.
to you, Margaret.
Yeah.
Cheers.